Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the wildest geopolitical stories of our time, America's obsession with buying Greenland. Yeah, you heard that right. And let me tell you, this is way more than just some bizarre real estate deal. It's a high-stakes game of military power, untold riches, and who controls the future of global trade itself.
And then, all of a sudden, this whole thing just blew up in the headlines. It happened when former President Donald Trump basically said out loud what others had only been thinking. His shockingly blunt desire to get Greenland, even if it meant taking it by force, well, that turned a quiet, century-old government wish into a massive global controversy.
So, you gotta ask, right? Why? Why on earth is the world's biggest superpower so completely fixated on this huge ice-covered island that has fewer people than a small American city? Well, the answer is a lot deeper and a whole lot more complicated than you probably think.
See, what most people don't get is that this is not some new, crazy idea that just popped up. Nope. This is a deep-seated American obsession that goes back over 150 years. It reveals this long, persistent strategic interest in controlling the Arctic.
And they have tried again and again. Get this, the first move was way back in 1867. Right after the US bought Alaska. Then they tried again in 1910, but that failed too. During World War II, America basically took over Greenland's security to keep the Nazis out. And then right after the war, President Truman offered $100 million in gold. That's over $1 billion today. And every single time, the answer from Denmark was a hard no.
So, the first big reason, and this one's still absolutely critical, is all about location, location, location. Greenland is just in the perfect spot to act as a giant guard post. The US has a base there, Thule Air Base, with this incredibly advanced radar that can spot missiles flying over the pole just minutes after they launch. That gives the US mainland a crucial head start to defend itself.
Okay, so let's get into the next piece of the puzzle. Because while that military angle has always been there, the modern obsession, well, it's being fueled by something else entirely. We're talking about a treasure trove of almost unimaginable value, buried deep under Greenland's 2-kilometer thick sheet of ice. And that treasure is rare earth elements. You might have heard of them. These 17 metals are, and this is no exaggeration, the oxygen of the 21st century economy. They are the essential, non-negotiable building blocks for pretty much all of our modern tech.
And here's the kicker. Geological surveys have confirmed that Greenland is sitting on one of the world's biggest untapped stashes of these things. We're talking about everything from the neodymium you need for electric car motors, to the gallium that powers AI chips, to the silicon for all our semiconductors. It's literally a tech gold mine waiting to be dug up.
Okay, and this is where it gets really serious from a geopolitical standpoint. For decades, China has been playing the long game, strategically investing until it built a near-total monopoly. Right now, China controls a staggering 90% of the global supply of these minerals. That gives Beijing an incredible amount of leverage over basically every advanced economy on the planet.
So you see, this isn't just about making money, it's about power. For the United States, getting control over Greenland's mineral wealth would be a game-changing move. It would break China's stranglehold and give the US a massive upper hand in this ongoing economic and tech rivalry. But, and you might not believe this, even that incredible mineral wealth isn't the biggest prize on the table. There is a third reason, one that's even more of a game changer. It's the one that has the power to literally redraw a map of global trade as we know it.
And this final piece of the puzzle isn't some mineral we have to dig for. It's not something hidden miles beneath the surface at all.
Instead, it's happening right before our eyes thanks to climate change. As the Arctic's ancient ice melts faster and faster, it's opening up a whole new world at the top of our planet. A world that, for all of human history, has been locked away in ice. What's opening up is the fabled Northwest Passage. For centuries, this was just a frozen dream for explorers, a mythical shortcut between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. But now, global warming is turning that fantasy into a very real navigable shipping lane.
So how big of a deal is this new route? Well, for a cargo ship going from China to London, it could slash 9,000 kilometers off the journey. Think about that. That means saving 10 to 15 days of travel time and millions of dollars in fuel costs on a single trip. And here's the bottom line. Greenland sits right at the front door of this new maritime superhighway. So, whoever controls Greenland controls the access point to the most important new trade route of the 21st century. It basically becomes the toll booth for the future of world commerce.
So, let's play this out.
What would actually happen if the US decided to just go for it and take this incredible strategic prize? Well, it wouldn't just be some diplomatic spat. It could set off a chain reaction with truly catastrophic consequences for the entire world.
You have to remember, Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, a founding member of NATO, and Danish officials have made it absolutely clear. If America invaded their territory, that would be the end of the NATO alliance. It would shred the core principle of the whole thing, that an attack on one member is an attack on all of them.
Experts are warning this could set off a devastating domino effect. First, sure, the US might become the sole Arctic superpower, but it would come at a terrible price: the complete collapse of the trust that has held it in Europe together for almost a century. Second, America would become the undisputed king of critical minerals, but this would likely lead to massive mining operations, destroying a fragile ecosystem. And finally, and maybe the most tragic part of all, the indigenous people of Greenland would lose everything: their land, their culture, and their freedom.
And this brings us to the final, and probably the most important takeaway from all of this. Because the fight for Greenland isn't just about one island. It's about what kind of world we're all going to be living in for the next 100 years.
The melting ice isn't just revealing new shipping lanes, it's revealing a potential new era of how nations deal with each other. One that isn't governed by laws and alliances, but by a brutal old-world mindset where might makes right, and the powerful simply take whatever they want.
So, in the end, the fate of this giant island of ice really forces a huge question on all of us. Will the opening of the Arctic lead us to a new era of global cooperation, or will the fight for its resources and its routes become the opening shot of the next World War? The choice made over Greenland could very well define the century to come.